Okay, here we are. Excuse me. I truly am. I didn't actually make tea. Please excuse if you can hear that. My husband is mowing the lawn outside. We recently bought this property and it's got like 4.5 acres, which is amazing, but we need to get some sheep on this property so we don't have to mow it. So anyway, if you can hear that, I'm sorry. I don't really know what to do about it. Also, if you hear children, I also don't know what to do about that. My little one, she's 2. Rowan, she's hopefully napping. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. And my older one, she's 5, Finley, today's Friday. I'm filming on Friday, and she gets to watch a couple movies on Friday. And so hopefully she'll be engrossed in that, and we will get a blissful 30 minutes maybe here. We'll see. I did not make tea for this. It is like 1:30, and this is my morning tea. And you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. But it's still delicious. So yeah, so that's what we're working with. No, my youngest is not sleeping. I just heard her. So you may hear her. Just because at this age, you know, they just like rail against what they actually need, you know? Maybe we can all identify with that. Anyway, anywho, my name is Kelley. I haven't said that yet. My name's Kelley, and I have been knitting. My grandma taught me how to knit when I was a little wee one, and I don't really know how old I was. I don't have a great memory for that, and actually through this video you might realize I don't have a great memory just in general. I'd like to say I'm working on it, but truly I'm not. So it's just is what it is. I only have bandwidth to improve so much, and my memory is like nowhere on that list. So we're just gonna have to roll with it. Yeah, so my grandma taught me how to knit. Thank you, Nini. When I was little, and I got really into it for a long time. And then I think maybe when I was in high school, I dropped like all fiber arts. Which, like, why? You know, I really wish I had kept that going because I just really loved it, and I still really love it. But when I had my oldest, Finley, back in 2018, I started picking up fiber arts again. I started with quilting, and then I got back into knitting, and holy moly, have I gone like deep into the knitting world. And one of those things is knitting videos. I love watching knitting vlogs. I'm so surprised by that. I am not much, like, I don't really watch a lot of stuff online, and I was never a big, like, I rarely got on YouTube except to like learn different techniques when I got back into knitting, because my grandma only taught me, you know, knit and purl. I didn't know how to like start a project or end a project or any of that. But I happily stumbled across a knitting vlog, and I would love to tell you who the first one was, but I just like, memory, right? It's not there. But thank you to whoever that was, because, can you hear that? That's my daughter. Oh, okay. Whoever that was, thank you, because I love them. They are so genuine. I love hearing people excitedly talk about what they're making, what they're passionate about. I love hearing about fiber. Fiber is like it for me. I mean, I obsessively knit, don't get me wrong, but learning about different sheep and different fiber, I just think that I could learn about that forever and always be excited about it. So anyway, I got into knitting videos, and I was like, hey, maybe I can be part of this world. Like maybe I could contribute to what I've gotten so much from. So anyway, here I am, and I'd love to share. Yeah, so I hope this will kind of be me sharing mostly about my knitting. I don't crochet. I don't have any plans to. I do sew a little bit, but the sewing is really a utilitarian thing. Like I would like to have ethical, sustainable clothing, and it is expensive, rightly so. Like I definitely don't complain about the price on that. It makes sense. But I can't always afford it, and so I sew because I want clothes that don't hurt other people, and I want to do that as best as I can. Other people or the planet, animals, all of that, you know. And but you know, I probably will share some of my sewing because I did it and I want you to see. And then also I will be getting sheep at our property, so you will definitely be hearing a lot about that and seeing them. I'm hoping to get some this fall, but if not, you know, breeding season is usually in the spring, and so we'll get some next spring, but fingers crossed we'll get some this fall. And I also am going to start dyeing my own yarn and seeing where that takes me. So that's really what this channel is going to be about, and I would love for you to come along. If you would like to come along, please hit like and subscribe, you know, all the YouTube things. I would love for you to join. I say a lot. I'm going to work on that. Maybe. Let me see how this video is going so far. Hold on one second. I changed my positioning a little bit. I'm like super new to video, and you're gonna come and learn along with me. I have a microphone, but I'm not using it right now because it's like it's the incorrect plug for my camera. So hopefully the sounds decent. If it doesn't, I'll try to do better next time. Okay, so first I would like to share with you some of my knits from the past year, what I have around to show you. My first one, wait, I should get my notes. Hold on. I am not a good note taker, but I did, you know, start off with zest and zeal and take some notes, and then it just like petered off into nothing, and so as we go along I'll have less and less information. But to start with, I have some information. Well, maybe not for this one. This was the first sweater that I ever made, and it's in an alpaca lace weight because I was knitting a bra and it called for lace weight, and so I went in and I got an alpaca lace weight, and I would not do that again. It stretched out a lot. I should have just done cotton. But I had a lot left over, and so I just looked up a toddler sweater pattern, white lace toddler. Is maybe not the best mixture, and it needs to be cleaned. Honestly, all of my knits need to be cleaned, and I'm doing this video now because I need to clean them, but I wanted to be able to show you. So they're gonna be dirty because they get used in this household, which I feel very lucky for. So I'm not gonna get too upset about the dirtiness, but it may not be as pretty for you to see. Let me think about what pattern this was. Hold on, I'm not prepared. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna look it up in my Ravelry, because I literally just went in and looked up, you know, I had my yarn, I had a lot left over from that bra, and so yeah, I went into Ravelry and just, okay, it's called The Fall in Love Sweater by Nadine Hershey. There wasn't a lot of people who have done it, so I just found it through doing that search, but it's adorable and I highly recommend it. It was a very easy pattern to follow. It's got some, hold on, it's got some like texture work up top, if you can see that, some like eyelets, lace work, and some baubles. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of baubles. This is my first time doing it, and maybe it was the yarn, maybe it's me. I don't know if I'll be doing them again. They were just like so tedious, and I applaud those of you who can do, like, there are textured sweaters with baubles like all over the place. Holy moly, I think that would not be my but it looks beautiful. So anyway, the baubles, that's me, that's not the pattern. It was a beautiful pattern and I highly recommend it. I will link things in the bottom because I don't know how to put things on the screen yet, and I want to learn because I love that. Like, I love when people show patterns on the video and whatnot. I will learn how to do that, but it probably will not be on this video because I just want to get it out. I just want to get it out there. I don't want to hold up any longer. Yeah, so this is an alpaca lace weight yarn. I don't have any more information other than that. It was from Peru, I think. And my daughter wears it all the time. And we are currently, so we just moved from Montana to North Carolina. And in Montana, you can wear sweaters in the summertime. Like in the evening, definitely you can wear sweaters. In North Carolina, we are in the mountains in North Carolina, but goodness gracious, it is not sweater weather. And she still wants to wear it. So bless her. So that's that. Then I wanted to do the sheep camp sweater, but oh, I didn't tell you what I was wearing. Okay, this is the coloring book raglan. Here, I don't know, by Amy Scherer. I made it from Brooklyn Tweeds, the cotton one. Do I have, let's see. Nope. What's the cotton one? Anyway, the Brooklyn Tweed cotton blend one. I think it's 60-40, 60% something. Is it, you know what? No, I want to look this up because it's going to bother me. The pattern was wonderful. I definitely recommend it. It's a raglan top, and you know, it's made to be sweater, t-shirt. There are a couple different views. I did view B with like a wide sleeve and thicker stripes, but people go look it up on Ravelry. I'll link stuff because people, you can really like kind of make it what you want. Here, I'm gonna find it. Dapple. Okay, Dapple, which is 60% merino and 40% organic cotton. I think the merino is from Wyoming or Montana, and the organic cotton is from Texas, because Brooklyn Tweed sources all of their stuff from the United States. So that's sweet. I love that. So that is what I'm wearing, and I cannot tell you the colors that I bought, but it was lovely. And I heard with Dapple that you, or at least they told me that you should switch up skeins because they're dyeing with both a protein fiber and a plant fiber. Those two take dye differently, and so even in the same dye lot, you're gonna get a lot of, each skein is gonna look very different. And I actually could tell a difference between two skeins by just holding them up that I got, and it really wasn't a problem. I didn't change skeins really, and it was fine. So I don't know, maybe I'm a bad influence, so don't follow my lead, but it was fine. Yeah, so I did UB, I did size 2. The recommended was worsted weight. I chose DK, and I did them on size 7 and 6 needles. I think it's because there's some cotton in this, but I have noticed that this bags out really easily. Like, it just like stretches. Like, when it is washed, it does not stretch this far on my neck. The sleeves really stretch out. I think I could have done a couple sizes smaller on the ribbing because especially like around the arms, you're moving around a lot. It just gets like really stretched out with the, I think it's the cotton content that really does that. So I think that's more specific to cotton blend stuff. But that would be something to be aware of because it probably is something, especially if you're going to make it in a t-shirt, you're probably going to, I mean, depending on your climate, you're probably going to want to have some plant fibers in there. So the next I wanted to do a sheep camp sweater, but I had never done color work before. And so I bought the book, or my husband got me the Nordic Knitting Primer as a gift. Highly recommend this book. It's by Kristen Trisdale, and she walks you through color work and how to do it. I do it on 2 hands. And I don't remember, is it English knitting where you knit on your dominant hand, your right hand? Through this I learned continental knitting, and I now knit with my left hand. I now do, I think it's called continental knitting. And she makes it very easy, and it makes color work very, very easy. So I highly recommend this. And so before I started the sheep camp sweater, I made my kids some slippers. And again, highly used. So please forgive all the, everything needs to be detailed. Like everything. Just not, I don't think it's the yarn's fault. It's just, I mean, the lace weight alpaca, that's just a very soft yarn. So it's gonna, and my kids are not easy on their clothes. So that's not the yarn's fault. And then these are just slippers. They haven't peeled that much. But isn't that adorable? I mean, come on. They are so this is a pattern out of the Nordic Knitting Primer. And, excuse me. So I made 2 pairs. One for Finley and one for Rowan. These are Rowan's, because, oh my gosh, aren't these adorable? They're so small. I am not showing you Finley's because she purposefully put a hole in the bottom of hers, and we're just not going to talk about that. I do need to make some more because they're growing out of them. And they were very quick. Very, very quick. They're adorable. Honestly, these would be a great gift knit if you're into gift knitting. Yeah, so these are Olsen slippers. I'll show you again. So cute. I put a little elastic around the heel because my kids just, I don't know, they like things tight. So I use Cascade Yarns White 8505 and Christmas Red 8895. The suggested needle for Finley's was a 4, and I used a needle 5. I made her a large. I don't know if I did the needle change for Rowan's. I'm not sure. So that's that. I think the Cascade yarn was great for, yeah, I think it was great for slippers. Worked out well. I also made they're in that, so these are a kid's pattern in the Nordic Knitting Primer. There's also an adult slipper pattern, and I made my mom, they're called the Stern slippers. I made those for my mom, also in the same colors. So for hers, the suggested needle size was 4. I used 5 because there was one, I think there was like one size, and it told you to do that if you needed a little bit more room. So, and it turned out great. She loves them. And nothing really more to say about that. So next up, sheep camp sweater. I love this. This is by Jennifer Berg. I'm in love with her designs. She's of the Native Knits. Hold on, let me try this on. Oh, I'm gonna put this on. Should I put this on? I'm gonna put it on. Hold on. Okay. I don't know if you can actually see this. I guess, well, I also have a stain on this because I am my children's mother. But I love the way this fits. It's a circular yoke, color work sweater. I usually wear it with my sleeves folded up. So apparently my camera only does 15-minute stints at a time. And so I didn't realize that until I thought I was done recording. So here we are. We're gonna get back to this. We're gonna do it again. Yeah, I'm gonna keep a closer eye on the time here. Anyway, so excuse me if I don't remember what I said. Circular yoke. It's super comfy. So the blue is alpaca, so it's a little drapey. Sorry about that. I don't know that I have a whole lot else to say other than Jennifer Berg's patterns are amazing. Like, it was so easy to follow. It was my first color work sweater, and I would highly recommend it. Anybody, I definitely will make another one. I don't know that I will choose alpaca again. I just didn't know much about yarn. It was just, I think it's just a little too drapey for me. Maybe like the alpaca elegance that Green Mountain Spinnery has, which I think I told you about because I recorded all of this, but you actually didn't see it because my camera stopped. I'll tell you about it later, but that's a 50% fine wool and 50% alpaca. That might be a really good one. And that was the right weight. So I actually might do it in something like that, to get a little bit of the drape, but a little bit more structure, because like all the ribbing just is useless. Maybe that's me. Maybe I need to like lower my gauge a little bit more when I do ribbing. But I also think it's probably just because I'm rolling up my sleeves and whatnot. Yeah, so there was that. Oh my gosh, now I gotta remember what I've told you about and what I haven't. I made this, and then I had so much alpaca left over that I looked up a little dress to make for my youngest, and I used, hold on, let me look up in my Ravelry. This is called the Lehan dress, and it's by Imke von Nathusius. I'm really sorry, Imke. We both know I butchered that. But it's a lovely pattern, and I highly recommend if you have kids and you enjoy knitting for your kids, because it's very drapey and oversized. It'll fit them for a long time. This is used. This gets very used. It's got little eyelets all throughout the yoke, and I-cord bind off. For this one, I did something a little different I made this again for my oldest, because when I made this for my youngest, I made it a little bit big, and my oldest stole it and wore it like a tunic. So I actually made her one because I enjoyed the pattern so much. It's DK weight. It went really fast. So I did something a little different for hers that I'll show you later. But I-cord for most of it. yeah, drapey, cute, very easy for them to play in. Layering, like, you know, it can be worn by itself in the summertime. Maybe it's perhaps a little hot for North Carolina summers, but she still wore it and was just a little red in the face. Didn't seem to bother her. And yeah, but it would be good for layering. Sorry, I just lost my train. It would be great for layering in the winter time as well. So there's that. Then I'll show you this one next. So this is the one I made for my eldest in silk. This is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I held it double to get a DK-ish gauge. I actually think I knitted this the same size as my other one. It might be a size up, but just because it's meant to be oversized. And my oldest loves this. She got to pick out her colors. That lighter one is actually a pink. It's not a white. It's a light pink and then a darker pink. And I held them together to get this marled look. And so I did a different bind off. I don't know if you can see that. I do not remember what it's called, but it was a replacement for, here, let's see, an I-cord bind off, because I wanted something that won't roll up on itself, but that was a little bit like not, the I-cord bind off always seems so chunky to me, and so I found this bind off, and it is excellent. I loved it, and I will definitely use this anytime instead of an I-cord bind off. I don't know, I have no idea if you're actually seeing what I want you to see when I hold this up to the camera. Fingers crossed, I don't know. But it's excellent, and I will link it in the show notes below because it was a very easy video to follow, and it's way more low profile than an I-cord bind off, and I just loved it. It's cute, it looks great. This, like I said, all our knits get worn, and this one, I don't know if you can see that big dirt spot right there, but my oldest, she was riding her bike. I'm just checking to make sure this doesn't stop recording. She was riding her bike. She was wearing this and riding her bike, and she had to go through like a little gate, and she's done it before, but just sheer panic set in. She forgot everything. Like she forgot where her handbrakes were. She just lost it, and she's like put all her energy into trying not to hit her younger sister, which I definitely applauded her for. But then she totally ate it, and she just landed straight, like basically on her face and on her dress. But this yarn held up, y'all. I just need to clean it, and this happened like 3 weeks ago, so don't judge me. Side note, for those of you who have knitted with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, can you put it in the washing machine? I don't wash our stuff often, so it's not like I'm not worried about it breaking down too much, but like it would just, she would be able to get back to wearing it a lot quicker if I could just put it, instead of it having to dry out. It was very dry in Montana, so my knits dried very quickly. It is not so in North Carolina, so things take a little bit longer. Anyway, would you wash and dry your Knitting for Olive Pure Silk clothes? Let me know. What do you think? So that's adorable. She loves to wear that. And then I have one more thing to show you that I have finished, and I will try it on, and I will also check to make sure this is still recording because now I'm traumatized. Okay, this is my last finished object. This is also in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I don't know the color, I'm really sorry, but it's a beautiful yellow. This is a free pattern called Tip Top Tank, and I think I did this in the fine one. This is fingering weight. I just held this single. Let me check. I think it's by Emily Boldune. Sorry, Emily, but it was a great pattern. I did have, so the way this pattern is constructed is all of these V's are identical. Like you don't add in more stitches for under the arm, and I think what happens is then my straps kind of pull down. And since this is already a deep V, and I'm not a huge fan of deep V's, and it is very apparent in the photos that this is a deep V. And so you might ask, well, Kelley, if you knew it was deep V and you knew you didn't like deep V's, why did you knit it? And that would be a very legitimate question that I don't have an answer to. But I did it, so here we are. Anyway, but with the deep V and with the sliding, I get kind of worried about flashing people. And so I started to just pin this to my bra, and that seems to work just fine. Other than that, it was a great pattern. Love it. It's very airy and breezy. I think this is so drapey. Like, this is so drapey, and I think I'm learning that I like a little bit less drape. So I might I probably wouldn't hold it single again. I would find a pattern that I could hold double. But it is breezy and wonderful and perfect for the weather that we're having right now. It's like 100 degrees out. Yeah, so I think that's it for what I have to show you. Finished object wise, I have 2 things on my needles right now. Normally, I'm a monogamous knitter. I don't know how exciting this section of my vlog will be because I usually get obsessive about the thing that I'm knitting. But right now, I do have 2 things on my needles because I have one that is very simple, stockinette, mindless, and then I have a color work. The simple mindless is the Northland sweater by Petite Knit. I am knitting a sweater for my husband, and I think this took me about a month to do. I mean, it's a worsted weight, but it is for a 6'4" man. And so, yeah, I just get obsessive about finishing things. But this is in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is a Targhee and Columbia blend. I think from I think they're from Wyoming, the sheep. It is a great yarn. I haven't had a problem with it. And you do find little bits of vegetable matter every once in a while, which I think should be totally normal. Like, to get vegetable matter out of yarn, you have to use really intense washing methods, with a lot of chemicals. And, just a little bit of vegetable matter just reminds you that this came from an animal and is an agricultural product, and I appreciate that. So anyway, yeah, I just have the sleeves to go, and we decided that this is just slightly short for him, so I will take out the bottom and just add it an inch in binding. But I don't know whether I would knit this pattern again. I probably would, because if he likes this, he'll probably choose the same thing over and over again. But this is my first Petite Knit pattern, and I got kind of confused. Hers are a little bit more bare bones, and so I got confused around the neckline and the shoulders. This is the first time I've done a shoulder construction that looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. And I think I made one mistake, which I did not bother to. I think it'll block out. Okay. And I do think it will. It looks fine. But it just took me a little bit to get my bearings within the pattern. But now we're, cruising. So we're almost done. So that's my easy peasy. And then I've got the Sisters United Sock by Caitlin Hunter, or Boyland Knits, I think is what her business name is. I don't know if you can see this. That's the pattern, the front of the pattern. Sisters United is a nonprofit started by the owner of Farmer's Daughters Fibers for caring for Indigenous women. And so you can actually, I think the pattern was made to knit these socks and gift them to be a part of the healing bundles that they send out to Indigenous women. It is a beautiful pattern. It has been very easy to follow. I am knitting these for myself now, but I definitely will knit to donate afterwards. But look at that, isn't that pretty? It's DK weight, so I think it's DK weight. I'm using DK. Yeah, DK weight. So it goes by really quickly. The yarn I'm using, the white is Music, M-E-W-E, Music, from Green Mountain Spinnery, which is a wonderful spinning co-op mill in Vermont. And co-op, I don't know if that's the right word. They are employee owned. And then the brown is Alpaca Elegance by Green Mountain, and they're both gorgeous yarns. The Alpaca Elegance is 50% alpaca from New England and 50% fine wool from the United States, and the white is 100% fine wool from the United States. And I got these yarns because I am going to start dyeing some wool with natural dyes, and I wanted to see what, I wanted to source it from Green Mountain. They're a wonderful company. They are very concerned about their footprint on the environment, and so they don't use a lot of petroleum-based cleaners or oils, and it's a gentle clean, so you will find vegetable matter within your yarns, and again, I have no problem with that. So anyway, this pattern has been wonderful. Highly recommend. It is beautiful, though I think these will probably be a house sock. I don't know how they will hold up. I think this is a 2-ply. I think they're both 2-ply. And with the alpaca. Anyway. So that's fun. Love that. And I think that's it that is it for what I'm knitting. Let me check to make sure this is not turned off. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to share was this yarn. So this yarn is from Green Mountain Spinnery. This, I got gray bases, so I want to dye this yarn. I think in the future I would love to dye breed specific yarn that I source from local people. This yarn is 100% US sourced and US milled, in Vermont. But I recently did a sheep 101 class because we're gonna get sheep on the farm, and I fell in love with the breed Tunis. They are so cool. They're called the American Tunis. They're a conservation breed. I think they're just on the watch list now. Conservation breed means there's just not very many of them left. They're also a heritage breed, which means they have gone unchanged since first becoming a breed. And they're as indigenous as a sheep could get to the United States, or a domesticated sheep can get. They come from what's called a fat-tailed sheep. They were these fat-tailed sheep, which are referenced in the Bible. These are all old breed of sheep. It was a gift from the Bay of Tunisia to George Washington in the 1700s, and they were bred with a couple different breeds, and I don't remember, but they became the American Tunis, and since then they have gone unchanged, so they're a heritage breed, and they were really important in our post-colonial, our nation's history. Obviously there's so much history pre-colonial, but I'm just talking about the United States. the American tunists was such a big part of life that the Union soldiers actually tried to eliminate like the whole breed because to try to starve the Confederate soldiers. And one farmer in South Carolina, I believe, hid his sheep, and they have been endangered since. But now I think they're just on the watch list, but they're still, you know, obviously not as popular as some extra fine wool breeds, but they have a beautiful wool. It's considered a medium wool, but I mean, it can be, you know, just as beautiful as like a Corriedale or something like that. And I'm just obsessed. They're very sweet sheep, and I would love to have yarn from them specifically. But we'll get there when we get there. Right now, I'm going to learn how to botanically dye these. I got the gray bases because I like warmer colors, so I think this will, you know, help get some warmer colors instead of on just a white. I also like the idea of dyeing on natural colors. But anyway, so I'm using plant dyes, and I would love to eventually source all my plant dye material either from my garden or forage locally. So that'll be a journey. And I would love to bring you along with it. I think that's all I have right now. So I would love it if you would leave me a comment. I will read it and I will respond for sure. Definitely subscribe if you're interested at all. I will have sheep to show you soon, hopefully. And yeah, I would love to do this again. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.